He is a former senator and governor, and now George Allen is adding author to his list of titles. His new book is called What Washington Can Learn from the World of Sports. And Governor Allen joins us now. Welcome to First and Fourth. Thank you for being here.
Good to be with you, Ron.
You talk about a number of themes in your book, but one of the things I notice you go back to a number of times is you discuss what you say that America is a land of equal opportunity,
right,
but not necessarily equal results. What does that mean? How does it apply to government, and how do you get that from the world of sports?
Well, in the world of sports, and I learned this growing up on the sidelines and training camps and locker rooms with my father and teams I played on. And the meritocracy is a level playing field. Everyone has that equal opportunity to compete and succeed. You don't care about their religion, their race, their ethnicity, where they're from. And that's the sort of meritocracy we should aspire to in our society. Too often, though, government expects equal results. Well, in sports, there's winners and losers. You don't take a Steelers Super Bowl trophy and say, oh, let's give it to these poor old Detroit Lions. They've never won a Super Bowl. And so that meritocracy, to make sure Team America or individual Americans can compete and succeed based on their own teamwork, their hard work, their perseverance, or their innovative leadership is what should determine winners and losers rather than manipulations or meddling from Washington.
Now, you talk a lot about your political philosophy in this book, but you also talk about your own life, including some of your own experiences. And, of course, the infamous Macaca incident is one that you talk about a lot in the book. And,
well, not a lot.
Well, not a lot, but it's in there, definitely. But I want to actually share with our viewers an excerpt from that. And you say that you thought the word macaca was a nonsense word. You thought that if you had known the nickname would to be considered a racial slur, that you wouldn't have said it. You go on to say that you've apologized to the young man who took video of you on the campaign trail, and you take full responsibility for the remark and its aftermath, which you say should have been handled much better. Some of your critics have come out in the aftermath of this book and said that it was impossible for you to know, or not know, that this wasn't a racial slur, particularly because of your mother's North African roots. How would you respond to those claims?
Well, I would respond that it was a mistake. There was no malicious intent. I should never have brought the young man into it. He was following us all over Virginia as a cameraman for my opponent, who was out in the surreal world of Hollywood while we were in the real world of Virginia, and I never should have brought him in. He had a tough job. If I had any idea that word would be construed as a slur, I would never have said it. And so it was a made-up word, a nonsense word, and of course the campaign with the opposition was able to get into word origins and gotcha politics. And don't drag my mother into it. My mother, who's an etymologist,
right,
she never heard of the word either.
Right. Now, are you concerned at all? I mean, you've had an esteemed career. You were a Virginia delegate, a governor, obviously a United States senator. Are you concerned at all that it could be one of the defining moments of your political career?
Well, I regret it, and it was a mistake, and I take full responsibility for it. And I think people will look at my record as a legislator, as a governor, as a U.S. senator, and the purpose of the book is to say, all right, here are the principles I grew up learning, and how they apply to make sure that people in our country have solutions and ideas that allow them to achieve their dreams for themselves and for their families. And so, yeah, that may be an issue for some folks, but I think most voters, and this is one of the many regrets of that incident, is that it took the campaign away from ideas and a record of performance, which I think most people in a campaign would like to hear,
right,
rather than that sort of issue.
Well, the other big thing that's come from the release of this book is that people think that you do want to get back in the political fray, that you do want to run again. Now, you've kind of hedged your bets a little bit when people ask whether or not you want to run again in 2012, specifically for your former U.S. Senate seat. How seriously are you really considering it?
Well, there's been many people who are elected officials and activists throughout Virginia who have been encouraging Susan and me to get back into it. My political focus this year will be on the 2010 elections, because I do think we need to get some replacements in Washington when you see the profligate spending and debt and counterproductive energy policies, which I talk about in my book, and how we've been punting on first down on energy policy, and I propose a winning energy game plan for America. My answer, as far as what I may do in the future and running, is perhaps. But I write in my book that in the event that I do get involved running myself, I want to do it with Billy Kilmer-esque gusto, and advocating positive, constructive ideas that unite people and an agenda to make sure Americans in America are more competitive in achieving their dreams.
All right, and you can see the former senator and governor. He's going to be at Big L's Sports Bar on Saturday from 6 to 8, signing the book.
Yeah.
And perhaps we're going to see you again on a ballot sometime soon. Perhaps. That's your word, right?
You got that, Ron.
All right. Thank you so much for being here, sir. We appreciate it.
My pleasure.